It's World of Warcraft's 20th anniversary, but instead of cake and celebrations, players are serving up protests and economic chaos. What's going on over in Azeroth?
It's quite the juxtaposition, isn't it? Yeah.
Uh,
We've got a game hitting a major milestone and simultaneously grappling with some deep-seated discontent among its players. It's like a family reunion where everyone's trying to pretend everything's fine while the simmering tension threatens to boil over.
Okay, so let's unpack this drama. We've got DPS players feeling left out in the cold thanks to recent balance changes, a ridiculously expensive mount that's causing some serious in-game economic ripples. And the big question, is Blizzard using all of this as a distraction from other issues?
Let's start with those disgruntled DPS players. They're not just voicing their frustrations on forums, they're taking their protests right into the heart of the game using the Group Finder tool as their platform.
It's pretty clever, actually. They're hijacking a system designed to bring players together and using it to highlight their exclusion from the meta, that unwritten rule book of which classes are considered the most powerful.
And this isn't just about bragging rights. For dedicated players in World of Warcraft, being part of the meta can determine whether you get invited to raids and progress through high-level content. It's a social contract of sorts, and right now, certain DPS specs like Warlocks, Shadow Priests, and Fury Warriors are feeling like that contract has been broken.
So these players are basically being penalized for choosing to play characters they enjoy, even if they're not considered optimal by the current standards. It makes you wonder how Blizzard is approaching class balance. Are they prioritizing a narrow definition of meta at the expense of player choice and diversity in gameplay?
It definitely raises concerns about the long-term health of the game.
Yeah.
If a significant portion of the player base feels like their preferred playstyle is being marginalized, that can lead to resentment and ultimately attrition. World of Warcraft has thrived on the diversity of its classes and specs. Ignoring that diversity could be detrimental to the game's longevity.
All right, so we got DPS players feeling a bit left out in the cold. But now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the Brutosaur in the auction house. This $90 mount, the Traders Guilded Brutosaur, has players buzzing for all the wrong reasons.
I think the outrage over the price tag is understandable. It's a hefty sum for a virtual item, especially when you consider that it's essentially a reskinned version of a mount that was previously obtainable with in-game gold.
And let's not forget, the Brutosaur isn't just a status symbol. It comes with a built-in auction house and mailbox access, which makes it incredibly convenient for players who spend a lot of time trading or managing their in-game assets.
So you've got a combination of factors at play here: the exclusivity of a limited time offer, the practicality of its features, and the fact that it feels like a slap in the face to players who grinded for months to earn the original Brutosaur with in-game gold.
And it's had a ripple effect on the in-game economy. Players are scrambling to buy WowW tokens to convert into Battle.net balance so they can buy them out.
The price of a WowW token has skyrocketed to over 335,000 gold on U.S. servers, a clear indication of the demand. What's fascinating is that some players are actually upset that it isn't more expensive because they feel like it devalues the effort they put into earning the original Brutosaur, which cost a whopping 5 million gold back in 2018.
It's like they're saying, hey, we paid our dues. Where's our exclusive club membership card?
This situation really highlights the complex relationship between real-world money and virtual economies. It raises questions about how Blizzard values its players' time and effort. Are they prioritizing short-term profits by catering to those willing to spend big bucks, even if it alienates a portion of their loyal player base?
Which brings us to the million-dollar question. Is this all a calculated distraction? Are they using the mount controversy and the DPS protests to divert attention from other potential problems, like a lack of core gameplay improvements or bugs that need fixing?
It's a compelling theory, isn't it? While players are focused on the flashy new mount and the drama surrounding class balance, they might be less inclined to notice other areas where Blizzard may be falling short. Is it a coincidence that these controversies are erupting just as World of Warcraft celebrates its 20th anniversary, or is there something more strategic at play?
Well, this is where things get really interesting.
It certainly feels like a classic case of misdirection.
Right.
While everyone's debating the ethics of a $90 mount and the fairness of class balance, are there deeper issues being swept under the rug?
And let's be honest, those concerns about monetization aren't coming out of nowhere.
Right.
Players are noticing a trend in recent years with more and more emphasis on cosmetic items and time-saving conveniences that can be purchased with real money.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, isn't it? On the one hand, Blizzard needs to generate revenue to keep the game running and developing new content. On the other hand, when those monetization efforts start to feel predatory or overshadow core gameplay improvements, it can breed resentment and distrust within the community.
We're seeing that resentment play out in the forums and social media.
Yeah.
Players are using words like disgusting and greedy to describe the Brutosaur's price tag.
Mm-hmm.
Some are even calling for boycotts or threatening to unsubscribe.
These reactions might seem extreme to outsiders, but for dedicated players who've invested years of their lives and countless hours into World of Warcraft, it's about more than just the price of a mount. It's about a sense of betrayal, a feeling that their loyalty is being exploited.
Goes back to that social contract we were talking about earlier.
Right.
Players expect a certain level of fairness and respect from the developers.
Yeah.
When they perceive those values being compromised, it can shake their faith in the entire game.
And that erosion of trust can be incredibly difficult to repair. Once players start to question the motives behind every decision Blizzard makes, it creates a climate of cynicism and negativity that can permeate the entire community.
It's a slippery slope.
It is.
If the perception becomes that Blizzard is prioritizing short-term profits over the long-term health of the game, it could have disastrous consequences for the future of World of Warcraft.
And let's not forget the potential impact on new players. Imagine joining World of Warcraft for the first time and seeing a $90 mount being flaunted around.
Right.
It sends a clear message about the value system within the game.
It's like walking into a fancy club and being told there's a VIP section where all the cool kids hang out,
Yeah.
but it'll cost you a small fortune to get in.
Exactly. It creates a sense of exclusivity and inequality that can be off-putting to newcomers, especially those who are used to more balanced free-to-play models in other online games.
So we've got veteran players feeling disenfranchised, potential new players being turned away, and a growing concern that Blizzard is losing sight of what made World of Warcraft so special in the first place.
It's a recipe for disaster if not handled carefully, but it could also be an opportunity for Blizzard to course correct, to listen to the community's concerns and reaffirm their commitment to creating a game that values player experience over quick profits.
The question is, will they seize that opportunity? Will they acknowledge the valid criticisms being raised, or will they double down on the monetization strategies that are alienating a segment of their player base?
The next chapter in World of Warcraft's story is being written right now, and the actions Blizzard takes in the coming months will determine whether it's a tale of redemption or a tragedy of lost potential.
We've explored the drama unfolding in Azeroth, from the frustrated DPS players to the controversial Brutosaur, and the theory that it's all a smokescreen for deeper issues. But what does this all mean for the future of the game?
To understand that, we need to step back and look at the bigger picture, at the social and cultural forces that have shaped World of Warcraft and its community over the past 2 decades.
All right, so let's dive into that bigger picture. World of Warcraft isn't just a game, it's a cultural phenomenon.
Absolutely. For millions of players, it's been a constant in their lives, a world they've escaped to, a community they've belonged to. And for many, that world and that community hold immense value.
Think about it. People have met their spouses, made lifelong friends, even built careers within the World of Warcraft ecosystem.
It's a testament to the power of online communities and the enduring appeal of a well-crafted virtual world. But when that world starts to feel out of balance, when the values that underpin it seem to be shifting, it can be deeply unsettling for those who've invested so much of themselves in it.
And that's what we're witnessing right now, a clash between the nostalgic ideal of what World of Warcraft represents and the realities of a gaming industry, increasingly driven by monetization strategies.
The $90 Brutosaur isn't just a mount, it's a symbol of that clash. It represents a departure from the values of hard work and dedication that once defined the game.
Remember those epic raids that took months of planning and coordination? The satisfaction of finally earning that legendary item after countless hours of grinding?
Those experiences felt earned, meaningful. They fostered a sense of camaraderie and accomplishment that bound the community together.
But when those achievements can be bypassed with a swipe of a credit card, it cheapens the experience for everyone.
It creates a divide between those who can afford to pay to win and those who feel like they're being left behind.
And that's not healthy for any online community, especially one as large and diverse as World of Warcraft.
The challenge for Blizzard is to find a way to bridge that divide, to reconcile the need for revenue with the desire to preserve the core values that made World of Warcraft such a beloved and enduring game.
So what's the answer? Is there a way to balance the needs of the business with the desires of the players?
It's a tough question, and there's no easy solution, but I think it starts with listening to the community, acknowledging their concerns, and being transparent about the decision-making process.
Transparency is key. If players feel like they're being kept in the dark, if they sense that decisions are being made solely to boost profits, that's when trust begins to erode.
Blizzard needs to rebuild that trust by demonstrating that they value their players' input and that they're committed to creating a game that's fair and rewarding for everyone.
And that might mean rethinking some of their monetization strategies. Perhaps offering more cosmetic rewards that can be earned through gameplay rather than purchased outright.
Or focusing on quality of life improvements and content updates that enhance the core gameplay experience.
Ultimately, the future of World of Warcraft rests on Blizzard's ability to strike that delicate balance, to find a way to keep the game financially viable without alienating the passionate community that has sustained it for 2 decades.
The stakes are high. The decisions they make in the coming months will have a ripple effect for years to come.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we leave you with this thought. World of Warcraft is at a crossroads. Will it adapt and evolve to meet the challenges of a changing gaming landscape? Or will it succumb to the pressures of monetization and lose the magic that made it so special?
Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the world of Azeroth and the community that inhabits it will never be the same.
We hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of the complexities facing World of Warcraft as it enters its 3rd decade. We encourage you to continue the conversation, share your thoughts, and engage with the community.
Because ultimately, the future of this beloved game is in the hands of its players.
Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with a fresh deep dive into another fascinating topic. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.